All right. This video is to do a comparison between the Outin Nano and the iKape K2 Pro by Sierra. At least it looks like it's Sierra. It says Sierra on here. As you can see, the extraction units are very similar in size. In fact, they have the same size cups on the top. The labeling and engraving is nearly identical. The location here where it pumps in, you can see down where the little filter is, about the same location. Very, very similar shapes. And this is kind of funny. The lids are interchangeable. Don't know how I feel about that. I think it's funny. The outlet side, very different. So this is the K2 Pro. It uses a 58 millimeter portafilter basket, so standard basket for the industry, and you can see a lot of difference in size. This is a double espresso 18-gram basket for the Outin Nano, 58 millimeter 18-gram basket for the K2 Pro. Little different form factor. So the Outin Nano has a fixed 45 millimeter basket with a single eject hole, and the bottom plate with all the little tiny perforations is pressed in. That doesn't come apart. Whereas the K2 Pro 58 millimeter basket, this is just a 58 millimeter basket. A little different arrangement here in terms of how does this work. There's a diffuser plate that goes on top of the 45 millimeter basket for the Outin and comes down in, and then the ring that comes in and sets that in is just a screw in. Same deal here. There's a big rubber plate with a diffuser, goes on the top there, and then a ring, a basket, a screen would go in, and that screws on. And you see, because the Outin has the small basket, it ends up a little bit taller in order to accommodate the volume. The K2 Pro, a little shorter because it's the bigger, broader basket. It is designed so you could use a taller basket and still not be protruding. There's even some testing people have done with 34 millimeter baskets, which is a long way down, so they're tapered, have a little cone. What I really wanted to talk about was the difference between the two. I've had the Outin Nano since the end of July, so August, September, October, November. 4 months of use daily, every day. I just got the K2 Pro this weekend, so very new for me. Just starting to explore the differences. As you can see, single function button, 4 LEDs to show you what's going on. USB-C with very similar little flaps to cover them. The Outin has a 7,500 milliamp battery. The K2 Pro has 13,500 milliamp hour battery, so a lot more battery capacity, slightly heavier. Gee, what a surprise. Probably similar innards in terms of how did you build what is the pump, what it fits. They run very similarly. Recharge pretty quick, actually. I was surprised at how fast it took a full charge. The Outin says either 5 single shot espressos with cold water or 3 double shot espressos with cold water, and a couple hundred if you've already got hot water. So I use these on the road. That's actually the whole point in having them, because I'm in a hotel every week, and so I need a way to make my espresso in the morning, or I can go drink terrible coffee in the breakfast place down at the hotel. Instead, I get great coffee. I get great espresso every morning with the beans I want, cooked the way I want, ground the way I want. Everything pretty much me suits me. I've loved the machine. It's been great. When I bought it, well, this is the blue one. And the blue one, the Outin came with the blue machine, this really exceptionally cool shark bottle opener piece for a keychain. Came with 2 single shot espresso baskets, a measuring cup for the single shot so you could get the right amount of coffee, and also does double duty as a tamper, which was kind of cool. I never ever make single shots, so I've used this part of the equipment exactly never. It did come with this really cool case. Let's get that out where you can see there's supposed to be a foam insert that holds these, but I've got so much more junk stuffed in the case at the moment. There's a nice zipper liner on the case for the USB cord or whatever else you want to put up there. Now, the Outin did come with a special piece for doing Nespresso pods, so you can do pod espresso, and they use this this particular little piece to screw those baskets on either the pod extractor, there you go, or the single shot espresso, and they seem to work reasonably well. As I said, I never ever use those. I've purchased the, let's get this, let's see, here's all the pieces. This is the double shot basket extractor. So a 45 millimeter basket by nearly an inch tall, a little more than an inch. Sorry, mixing units. 25 millimeters tall, 45 millimeters diameter. Has the ring for screwing it onto the bottom. Came with a funnel for getting your coffee out of your grinder into your basket, and a tamping tool. This one is textured, so it's got rings. It just goes over the top, and you can spin it, and they come out beautiful. And it's designed so that it's just a little bit below, so that this diffuser plate can fit in. And this diffuser plate has an O-ring to seal it onto the basket. And then that whole thing screws onto the end. Presumably you'd have your ground coffee in the end of the basket, fill it with water. I did purchase the stand. The stand comes in 3 pieces, the base plate, the upper plate, and an adjustable riser, so you can put whatever you need underneath it. You can buy, there's a scale that comes from Outin. I have that, but not with me. It's the Claro scale, which is a really good price. It's $49 in the US. Fits right here. Does more things than you really need for an espresso machine, because it just, gives you you use the scale to weigh the beans, and then you can see, gee, how much did I extract? And you put a cup underneath it and push the button, and there you go. You've got espresso. So pretty nice total outfit. Came somewhere in the pile with a little individual wire tool for when you're leveling and getting your grounds all set to make your espressos. You can come in and stir the beans. The interesting part is the exact same single wire with a big loop on the top came with both portable espresso machines, so that was funny. As I said, the double espresso basket was a separate order for the Outin. As it turns out, I ordered 2 because I make espresso for me during the week, but on the weekends I'll do espresso for anybody at the house that wants espresso. My wife gets an Americano, so I do an espresso shot, add water. Sometimes she has it hot, sometimes she puts it over ice. My daughter does a latte, and I have my own craziness with it. So this has been a great machine. Like I said, very similar to the new one. There are, there's the The cup sits on the bottom, it's nice and solid. This is a great unit. It's lightweight. You can take it backpacking with you if you feel like you need to do that. It's a super nice thing. And okay, I like the blue. The blue is a beautiful color. Outin has these in teal, green, black, white, pink. I don't know, there might be more colors, fuchsia. Lots of color options, and a very nice, very reliable, beautiful 3-layer espresso. So the dark on the bottom, a kind of mid-layer, and then a good thick crema layer on top. They've been fabulous. My whole thing is, gee, what's the best coffee I can possibly make? Which led me to, I have to try something different. So I got the K2. I wasn't as aware of this one. Outin does a great job of advertising. The K2 not as well advertised. I love the little shark. That's one of the reasons I bought the blue, because it came with a little shark. Gotta have the shark. You know, he's awesome. Lives on my keychain. The bag is nice. The little case here that you put everything in, but that's a little big for my backpack, because I'm on the road every week, which means on an airplane twice a week. A little large. The K2 came with, hey, I'm missing it. Let's go find it. It came in a little cloth sock, I guess you'd call it. Where did I put that? There it is. Sorry, guys, I'm coming back. So really just a cloth bag that it slips into. So, oops. Same deal, cup on the end. Goes in, and there you go. Ready to go. Not that different from, let's be fair. Not that different. Not that different from the Outin in total size. And I got a telephoto lens case for the Outin, and this is actually how I've been traveling with it. I just put it in the lens case, and off we go. So very, very similar. This was nice, very, very nice bag, lots of put everything in it, but not the way I actually travel with it. So that was the Outin. Not quite the same battery capacity and a slightly different basket. The K2 Pro had a couple things listed online that I looked at and I thought, wow, I want to try this. The cup is kind of the same thing. As I said, let's call this the extractor part of the espresso maker. Very, very similar. But 58 millimeter basket. So this is the size you'd see on a home espresso maker. Oops, sorry guys, whacked into the camera. Very different from the 45 millimeter basket. Still diffuser plate on top in this case. So the K2 came with a screen, so you put that on top of the coffee, and then the diffuser plates on top of the extractor. This one on the Outin, because it's got an O-ring that seals on the basket, when you put it together, it seals in the top. Same thing, very similar. And this basket is stuck in the ring and it goes there. So very similar, just a little different geometry. But because the K2 is on standards, so this is the K2 Pro is a 58 millimeter basket. I think the straight K2 is a 51, but they're still common baskets. So you can buy screens. As it turns out, I bought the K2 Pro through Lastaforest online, and they gave me another diffuser plate, well, top screen. And so that's part of the Outin. There's Outin things. Let's just put that there. So you can get different baskets. I've ordered a few baskets to come and play with geometry, different numbers of holes in the basket, different depths of basket. Somebody did some tests all the way to cone baskets down to 34 millimeters. Gives you a little bit more room to play with. How am I getting my espresso? What's my flavor profile? The K2 has an app you can run on a phone, either an iPhone or an Android phone, and you can change how long it pumps water into the grounds to just sit, and then a pause, and then an extraction time and a flow rate and a temperature. So just more experimental. So if you want to experiment more, K2 Pro. If you just want to keep popping out really delicious espresso, Outin Nano has been workhorse machine. Espresso every day for 4 months, some days 2, 3, 4 espresso, double espressos. So definitely put to use in a pretty sturdy test. The K2 Pro, just a little bit different form factor and more things to play with. So my order of the K2 Pro, I included a stand, just like I had a stand with the Outin. And I'm really very pleased to say that the Outin stand, you see, has got a little bit of adjustability. I can change the spacing between the top and the bottom, so taller or shorter. Why would you need it so tall? So if you've got the Outin up here, here's your cup long distance. But if you wanted to hook up, I actually run Bean Conqueror, which is an app that runs on my tablet, tracks which beans. By hooking up a Bluetooth connected scale, this is the Buku Mini. There's a Bluetooth link to the tablet, and as you extract, it will look at the flow rate of the espresso coming out and give you an idea of how was your time, what's your total extracted volume. This has been a great setup. I love it, and I've got a ridiculous number of shots recorded in Bean Conqueror. But I like the stand. The iKape stand is folded up sheet metal. It's fixed. This is the height. Well, that hasn't actually been, let me put this together so that it fits a little easier. That hasn't been a problem. It works great, but you know, it's, do you want more room? Do you need the scale? I tend to use this little beaker. It's a tighter fit, and it's very fixed. So I started looking at these. I'm like, well, they're pretty close to the same size. Well, as it turns out, the K2 Pro fits very nicely. It, you know, lots of rubber against rubber, and I can set the height wherever I want it. You know, at this point, very compact, or if I feel like I need a little more room, I can pull it up. That works great. I have to admit, I like this stand from Outin better, and I already have it, so I'm switching away from the Outin Nano. I'm probably not going to use the iKape stand. I'm going to use the Outin stand. I love the Buku Mini scale. This thing has been such a great workhorse. I think I've charged it twice, when I first got it and one other time in the last 4 months. So been an awesome scale. in the midst of the insanity, I did buy the new Buku waterproof scale, which isn't going to fit this very well, but I'm going to use that one at home, and this one's the one I take on the road because it's so tiny. And this stand came in 3 pieces. You put a screw in, put it together in the bottom, the top, and a little bar. It fits my canister for my coffee pretty well. I usually put the coffee canister in a little bag, and the whole thing fits very nicely. And so there it is, and I just travel with it that way because the canister is going to take up that space, and the stand all set. I can make it fit that, and it's fine. The iKape stand is too short for my coffee canister, so it takes a lot of room, and it's steel, so it's very durable, nice and solid. Nothing's going to fall over, but too much room on the road. And on top of that, if I just set that about there, Outin had a little soft rubbery ring for the top, which means that sits nice and firmly. I just like this particular setup a little better. So this is my new go-to. Now I'm letting the iKape go, letting the Outin Nano, much as I just love it, let it go. So what's the real push behind 58mm basket? Well, it is, as I said, a variety of screens. I think I've got 3. Here's another one. This one's a little thicker, a little different material, fewer holes, more holes, different arrangements, baskets. I just ordered a couple more baskets today from Walmart, of all places, because I could. And they just go right into the ring here. So this is basically, if you were on a full-size espresso machine, this would be your portafilter. You'd have a little handle, and you'd put it up in the machine and lock it with your basket in it and a screen on top. So the screen gives you a little bit of layer of diffuse between the diffuser plate and the top of the coffee, keeps the coffee off the diffuser plate, so no grounds up there. Pick which screen you want, pick which basket you want. My order had a small error. The basket funnel got left out. They're fixing that, but I don't have it yet. But here's the great part. I could just get another one, and it fits because they're standard size. It came with a nice flat bottom tamper, spring-loaded, so you can, oh look, there's coffee in there. That's kind of funny. So you can tamp your grounds, very, very nice and normal. As it turns out, I also have a different 58mm funnel. I like this one better. It's a little broader, so I'm a little sloppy. The broader fill lets me capture a little bit more, and then I can use my Weiss tool. I like the subminimal one, that single wire that came with both machines. Not quite as convenient as let's do 6 wires at a time. If I got overly excited, you could get the big ones that do the spirograph and all fancy. But again, I'm on the road, so a little bit tighter is better. And then I have this distributor, so it's the 3-lobed variable, and you can see it sits on top and spins, and then it's really easy to set your maximum tamp because the baskets are marked. That's your number, that's the space. You just press it in. This one is, I think the proper term here is stupid heavy, so lots of stainless steel. Tamp that down. Once the grounds are tamped, drop a screen, one of them on top of it, with the screen in, screw it on the bottom, set it on the stand. If you're gonna be excited and log data into Bean Conqueror, put your scale, your cup, and in this case, whichever cup you want. I tend to use the beaker because it's got numbers on it and I like beakers. So pretty convenient, pretty quick, pretty easy. I'm actually not traveling with that tamper, and I'm not using that funnel. I'm using the bigger funnel, so the stupid heavy, stupid heavy. This thing's got to weigh at least a pound. Oh, hey, let's see how much it weighs. Let's not be an idiot. We got a scale right here. Yeah, 586 grams, really just over a pound. Pretty heavy, but really easy to use. The subminimal waste distribution tool helps if you turn the scale back on. 48 grams, so very lightweight, even with the little stand for it. 76 grams, not terrible in terms of weight. This is a very heavy funnel at 135 grams. I haven't settled in on baskets or screens yet, so I don't know what's going to end up, but this stuff travels every week. I keep the cups with the stand, with the portable espresso maker, because it's a good way to keep the end sealed and protected, and I keep the top on, but honestly, I don't use either of those in normal day-to-day. And then there's a hidden feature. So I talked briefly about there being an app. So the K2 Pro has an app that runs on, in my case, on my iPhone, and it lets you set the temperature you heat the water to. What temperature is it currently? How long do you want to run water into the ground so that you can pre-infuse the puck? How long do you wait? Just sit and wait. And then how long are you going to run the extraction and at what flow rate? So a lot of variability there. But in the software, there's a really fabulous feature. It allows you to set a wake-up time, at which point, if you decided, I'm going to grind my coffee the night before, I'm going to prep it, I'm going to put it all together, I'm going to set it up here on the stand, I'm going to pour water in the top, everything's set and ready. In this case, let's just zoom this guy all the way down, see, nice and safe. If I put water in it, I've got coffee in it, I got a cup waiting for it, I can have this thing automatically make espresso for me at a preset time. So basically, it's like having a home machine that you've done. We used to do it was a Cuisinart machine that made coffee. Ground the beans, ran the water through it, and you had a pot of coffee. Okay, I had to grind the beans and prep the puck and pour the water in, but in the morning, when I get up, when my alarm goes off, I can have a hot cup of espresso waiting for me. Yep, this is the new travel espresso machine, and yeah, I'm going to use this 2-part tamper distributor, the big funnel. I'm currently playing with the screens. I have no clue which ones. I like the subminimal automatic tool. I love the just pop the pins out, stir everything up, put it away. That's convenient. I use my Pyrex beaker because this is a 150 ml Pyrex beaker. I only need 80 mils of water. I lose about 10 into the puck during the espresso. So I get between 60 and 70 milliliters of espresso when it's done. But it's nice for me to be able to just sit and watch it. And if I'm using Bean Conqueror and the Buku mini scale, it actually measures, it weighs, and I love the setup. So this is the travel gear. And this gear will become a gift to someone else. And I will grind my coffee beans and have coffee. And this is the espresso on the road. And just a comparison of the Outin Nano and the iKape K2 Pro 58 millimeters standard basket. Hope it's been interesting.